Okay, thank you again. My name is Ingrid Jarrett, President and CEO of the BC Hotel Association. I'm delighted that we are giving the end of the year update with our great partner STR today, and the focus is really trends, performance, and the year and the road ahead. We'll talk a little bit about the results in 2024 and 2025, but before we get started. As always, we like to pay our respects in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. We'd like to acknowledge that this meeting is happening on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I personally today am in the Okanagan, and so I want to honor and give thanks to the Silks Okanagan people. We thank them wherever we happen to be on these fair lands, allowing us to live, work, and play on their traditional and ancestral unceded territory. And I just ask each of you to give recognition of where you're currently living, working, and where you are today, and similarly give gratitude. Today's agenda, we have with us Debbie Jager, Sales Executive with STR. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us. You've been a very, very dear partner for many years, and I know the industry really uses that data and performance information that you're going to share with us today to develop their own strategies regardless of size or location. The agenda today is we'll start with Debbie and the STR details, and then we'll go into our state of the industry. It's really the key advocacy files that we're working on your behalf. And then Carissa will provide us our project update. Carissa is our project manager with BCHA. And then Samantha Glennie, our member services manager, will go through some of our membership benefits and some of the work that we are doing on behalf of you, our members. So thank you very much. Now, this is being recorded, and just a little bit of housekeeping before we launch into the webinar. You will see a Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Following our presentation, we have allocated sort of 15-20 minutes. And if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A, and then we'll read them out and the appropriate person will respond. This webinar will be made available both on our website and also in our industry update. And anything that we don't get to from your questions, your Q&A, we'll do our best to reach out following and making sure that we're providing that information for you. And of course, you can also reach out to any of us at any time following the webinar. Thank you, Gareth. Over to you, Debbie.
Thank you, everyone. Delighted to be here. My name is Debbie Jager, and as Ingrid has suggested, I am new to STR, representing STR in Western Canada. So we'll just start with the program. By now, I think most of you know STR, but for anyone who's not familiar, we're kind of like the report card for the hotel industry. We help hotels and destinations understand how they're performing against everyone else so that they can make the best decisions about revenue management and sales and marketing. So let's take a look at our most recent report card for hotels across Canada. We are still using 2019 as a benchmark for full recovery, but we also want to pay close attention to how we're doing compared to last year as well. That's because what we're starting to see is normalization. We hit bottom in 2020 and had quite the comeback pretty rapidly, but we're starting to see things level out or normalize. Only 4 provinces this year have been able to grow occupancy over the same period in 2023. Alberta and Saskatchewan even beating their 2019 numbers. Quebec with just over 0.5 point in occupancy growth over last year, and New Brunswick with only 0.2 point in growth. Everyone else has seen occupancy dip so far this year. Even here in BC, occupancy has fallen 0.7 point compared to year-to-date 2023. The good news is that ADR is continuing to grow, although the same normalization applies. We are starting to see rate growth begin to moderate, not growing at the same clip we saw in 2022 and 23. But again, the good news is that pricing power is holding. The Canadian average for ADR growth this year versus last year is $8. And as usual, BC is leading the way with an average ADR increase of $11 over last year. Only 3 of the other provinces are matching or beating the Canadian average so far this year. But those declines in occupancy and the moderation of rate growth mean one thing: RevPAR is declining for some provinces. You can see that big drops in occupancy in PEI, Newfoundland, and Labrador skew the results for total Canada. And then Manitoba and Nova Scotia are both down in RevPAR by about a point each. The prairie provinces are seeing the highest RevPAR growth, and here in BC, we're at least matching the country average. The slight occupancy decline has been offset by 4.5% ADR growth to keep RevPAR growth well in the black. So let's dive a little deeper into our report card to compare Canada's biggest cities. Many big cities are experiencing the same year-over-year occupancy declines we saw for the provinces. But Calgary and Edmonton continue their positive growth, leaving 2019 in the past. Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal have all seen slight occupancy growth this year over last, but are still chasing those 2019 peak. Vancouver and Toronto are the exceptions, continuing to build on their occupancy growth. And then right here in Vancouver, occupancy has fallen nearly 1.5 points this year over the same period in 2023. And we see that same pattern of normalization when we look at ADR across Canada's major metros. Almost all of Canada's biggest cities continue to see rates grow, but not all of them. Toronto ADR is exactly where it was the same time last year, and Halifax is the only city seeing ADR fall this year, $2 less than last year. And even though we've seen occupancy fall in Vancouver this year, rates have been growing well, leading among big cities with ADR at $14 higher than last year. That has kept RevPAR growth positive here in Vancouver as compared to losses in Winnipeg and Halifax. But Calgary and Edmonton take the prize for RevPAR growth because they've been both able to grow occupancy significantly and have kept pricing power very strong. But we're here in BC right now, so let's focus on performance right here in British Columbia. And as we all know, BC is a good place to be, with 6 out of the top 10 best submarkets in Canada for annualized RevPAR. So Whistler hasn't moved from its #1 spot it's held for quite some time. However, Banff has managed to climb up the list a bit to shift downtown Vancouver and Vancouver Island Southwest down to 3rd and 4th place. The next part of our report card lists all of BC's submarkets alphabetically, and there's quite a few, so we'll break it down into 2 groups, starting with Cariboo Coast and going all the way to Whistler. Kelowna and Kootenay Rockies are the only 2 submarkets to see higher occupancy so far this year compared to the same period last year. Nanaimo and South Okanagan are both exactly even where they were last year. And Fraser Valley and Kamloops had a very good year last year with the extra demand that the Trans Mountain Pipeline project created, but a lot of that demand dried up this year. Looking at ADR, it's a happier story for most. The Canadian average for ADR growth over last year is $8, and a couple of submarkets, Kamloops and Kootenay Rockies, are matching it or beating that. Fraser Valley and Nanaimo are both struggling with pricing power this year. Sorry about that. And the combination of occupancy declines and slowing ADR growth put Cariboo Coast, Fraser Valley, Kamloops, and Nanaimo into negative RevPAR growth. Kelowna and Kootenay Rockies are seeing the most RevPAR growth because they've managed to grow both occupancy and ADR. For the second half of BC's submarkets, we're seeing many with declining occupancy this year. Vancouver downtown is one exception where occupancy grew 0.6 of a point to reach 81%. Vancouver Island Southwest has grown occupancy so far this year by just under 2 points. But Vancouver Island Southeast and Victoria have seen the most occupancy growth, both right around 4 points higher than the same time this last year. Vancouver Airport has seen the steepest occupancy decline of just over 4 points, and Whistler's occupancy woes continue again this year, now down below the 70% mark. And that could be a factor weakening pricing power in Whistler as well. ADR there has fallen $2 from the same period last year. Vancouver Island Southeast is the other submarket moving backwards in ADR, but we just saw that submarket leading amongst occupancy growth, so it makes us wonder why there's not more pricing power there. Every other submarket on this list continues to grow, several outpacing the Canadian average. But look at this, that area from Tofino towards Souk has grown rates by $37 this year and has now replaced Whistler as the ADR champion with an average room rate this year of $438. Whistler's occupancy decline has added them to the list of submarkets with negative RevPAR growth, along with Vancouver Airport and Vancouver Island North in this subset. But again, look at that area of Vancouver Island and on over to Victoria as well, double-digit RevPAR growth. And looking beyond geography, the good news is that all classes are growing rates, but the only class to grow occupancy this year is luxury. This data triggers a couple of thoughts in our mind. First, it hints that luxury travelers may be more resilient to the current economic woes that we are facing. And secondly, maybe people are not trading down to less expensive hotels like some people suggested might happen as ADR continues to climb. One reason occupancy has been soft this year across Canada is because group demand has simply not been there. We were really hoping for groups to make a comeback by now, and we were getting closer to Q4 of last year. However, BC is actually doing better than most, not quite back to pre-COVID levels with group demand, but at least continuing in the right direction overall. Q1 group demand was definitely softer this year for BC, but that was mainly due to the calendar shift that moved Easter into March. That actually boosted groups in April. July group demand was a little behind the same month in 2023, but we saw gains in August and September. And we'll be watching to see how Q4 shapes up to end our year off. When it comes to group ADR, it's hard to ask for a better story. Not only are group rates well above where we were pre-COVID, but they also continue to grow steadily over last year. As group demands continue to take up a larger percentage of the demand mix, strong group rates will play an important part in keeping overall ADR growth positive. And yes, we're still waiting for business demand to return as well across Canada. But like BC with group demand, Vancouver appears to be doing better than many other big cities when it comes to the return of midweek business travel. This annualized data for Vancouver shows a big lift in RevPAR for every day of the week. And yes, weekend RevPAR is still running the show because leisure demand is still very apparent. Weekend RevPAR has grown 34% since 2019, while midweek, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, has seen only a 19% increase in RevPAR. That's still less growth than the shoulder days are seeing, an indication that leisure travel is still popular. But again, overall, the day of the week pattern for Vancouver is very similar to pre-COVID. There's room for growth during the week, but Vancouver is ahead of most major markets when it comes to business travel recovery. So here's some data from our recent hotel data conference. And it is US data, but it certainly applies to Canada as well. Castle Systems tracks key card entries for offices and shows that while we're seeing more people back in the office, we still have half our workforce working from home, at least at this period of time. So we compared office vacancy rates to occupancy levels in upper upscale hotels for the same cities. Upper upscale hotels are where the majority of business travelers stay. And we noticed that higher office vacancies equate to lower hotel occupancies. When no one is in the office, there's no one for business travelers to visit in those offices. Work from home correlates to lower business demand. But the Vancouver data was a surprise for us. The office vacancy rate matches what we're seeing everywhere, with vacancies much higher now compared to pre-COVID. But contradictory to what we're seeing in most all other major cities across US and Canada, occupancy for upper upscale hotels in downtown Vancouver is actually higher now than 2019, which is a sign of resiliency. So we've been looking at top line revenue so far, and we'd like to go a little beyond that. So the last thing we want to look at before we get to the forecast is profitability. So with this P&L data, what we're looking at here is year-over-year change in some very important KPIs over the last 12 months. We have seen a softening in occupancy and a slowing of ADR growth. But add to that the still growing cost of labor and the cost of practically everything, frankly. And it's a pretty simple equation that leads to downward pressure on profits. Total revenue per available room has been growing strong, especially in the spring and summer months this year in Canada. But labor per available room has seen consistent year-over-year growth as well. That has muted profits even in the high season and even driven negative growth in the off season. But what hotels are feeling this labor pain the most? To the far right, you can see labor cost as a percentage of revenue are actually slightly higher this year compared to last year. Not bad, 37.1% compared to 36.5%. But it's limited service hotels seeing the biggest bump in labor costs, a 5-point increase over the same period last year. There was no change year over year for full service hotels. And that is translated into a drop of 8 points in GOP for limited service properties. Again, while full service hotels stayed flat. So full service hotels have much higher costs, but at the same time bring in more revenue. So it's especially concerning to see that gap in profitability between full service and limited service hotels start to shrink. So with all of that in mind, let's take a look at our forecasts. For total Canada, here's what we're projecting for the rest of this year and 2025. And you can see at the bottom how each year's RevPAR compares to the previous peak in 2019. You can see we predicted a slight setback in occupancy this year and in 2025. ADR continues to grow, but at a much slower pace. We expect ADR to climb to $207 this year and another $3 in 2025. That is pushing RevPAR growth in Canada to new highs for the next couple of years. 20 to 28% RevPAR growth over 2019 is amazing, but we have to remember to take inflation into account. In the Vancouver market, we're expecting the same dip in occupancy for the full year 2024 and similar for 2025. ADR growth is slowing, but staying stronger than overall Canada. We expect ADR to climb to $279 this year and $284 in 2025. That is pushing RevPAR growth for Vancouver to record highs as well. When we take inflation into account, that really takes those amazing numbers and puts them into perspective. 6% RevPAR growth over a 6-year period is good, sure, but it's not exactly amazing and certainly not unprecedented. With occupancy and RevPAR growth normalizing and the cost of labor and everything else continuing to increase, hoteliers have to be very mindful with their strategies if they want to remain profitable. So while we're talking about the future, let's look at a data from STAR's new Forward Star that compares occupancy on the books and pickup. It's a free report for hotels, and it's the closest thing we have to a crystal ball to view future demand. So if you're not signed up already, please reach out and get enrolled. This is a snapshot from the beginning of the month, and we can see the Taylor Swift effect on downtown Vancouver, but also a bit of a letdown for the end of December, showing the holidays a little softer than last year. Overall, downtown Vancouver is pacing pretty even to last year through the first couple of months of 2025. So the word for this year is normalization. Occupancy is leveling out, ADR is growing, but slowing, and costs continue to grow as well. So hoteliers have to stay strong and plan wisely to take advantage of every revenue opportunity that they find, whether that's pushing rates for high demand dates or cutting costs in rooms and food and beverage operations wherever possible. Top line revenue should continue to grow, but we have to keep a close eye on the bottom line as well. So thank you very much for your time and attention today.
Thank you so much, Debbie. It's always such a pleasure to see the compilation of the data. We have a question here. Do we have all of BC forecast?
Not in the same format that was presented, but I can perhaps share a little bit of information with individual people sort of after the fact.
Great. Okay, well, thank you very much, Debbie. And any of you that have additional questions for Debbie, please make sure you put them in the Q&A, and following the rest of the presentation, we'll do our best to answer them. And if you do have a BC slide in your back pocket, Debbie, maybe you can dig it out, but I know that that wasn't part of your original presentation. So the BC Hotel Association, I'd like to thank all of you that answered our pulse check this fall. Everything we do is around what is most important to you, and then we, from there, really take those issues and figure out what we'll do about them on your behalf. So our mission is shaping the future of hospitality. We advocate, we communicate, and we educate. And our values are advocacy, respect, and collaboration. And we're really proud of both the partnerships that we've developed with other organizations, with government, with our federal counterparts, and the provinces across our fair country. So I have a couple of slides that are detailing our approach to advocacy. And, you know, when you tell us what's important to you, without a doubt, advocacy comes out on the top. And so we really need to make sure that what is keeping you up at night is what we, what we really address. So the first thing we do is listen to your voice, and that comes in all kinds of forms. I think it's the next slide, Gareth, please. And that really, we do that through engagement surveys, which I call our pulse check. So at any given time, we'll put out a survey, and we really work to have it only 5 or 10 minutes. And we ask a series of questions, and then we compile that and look at that and say, okay, is this a reflection of our priorities on your behalf? So most certainly short-term rental legislation, available affordable housing, MRDT, cost of doing business, training and upskilling, and people and careers. And within each of those 6 buckets, there are very specific actions that we address. An interesting thing is, from the beginning of 2024 to today, the cost of doing business has gone from 4, I think, to 2. And we're certainly hearing from you loud and clear of what do we need to do, and who are those partners, and how can we make sure that we do the research required with a KPI and an outcome that is measurable for us. So each of those 6 categories, we then go back and do the research, and we develop out our strategy. So this really dovetails into industry advocacy and collaboration. Many of you are advisors for us. We'll bring a group of people together to address these issues. We really assess research reporting needs. What information do we need that we don't have? And the support that you provide, and some of you are providing our government relations funding, definitely go into that research that we need very often to educate government ministries, both provincially and federally, but also industry partners that can assist us in leveraging that. We also then go cross-industry impact surveys, and here is a list of some of the ministries that we have worked with in 2024. And I'll just say that with our new government, although still NDP, it is a very slim majority, and we do have new ministers, and we don't have their mandate letters yet, and I anticipate that they will be issued in January. And the work that we then need to do is to take those 6 files that you have prioritized for us, and then we figure out which ministry and their mandate letters are aligned and coordinated so that we can figure out who we need to speak to, who do we need to educate, and what is those key issues within each of your advocacy needs. Sometimes we don't always get our way, and some of these files, they take years for us to have an impact. So then we amplify publicly. Sometimes we go to friendly media and they support communicating and influencing understanding and public sentiment. And here's some of the stats for 2024. So 1.84 thousand mentions. Our ad value of the work that we've done publicly is about 4.7 million. And then we have about 319 million reach. And that comes in all the different forms, both social, print, radio, online. And it's a pretty significant effort that we've made on quite a few files. And some of that reach is actually international as well. Then we go and we measure the results. So do we have a new policy or legislation? Is it underway? Is there financial relief that is measurable for you, our industry? Do we need new programs being created or extensions of existing programs? And those are all the questions that we look at when we determine what's next on each of those 6 categories that you want us to work on. So that's sort of our approach to advocacy. And then after we measure those results, we have to go back to the beginning again and really look at all those different recommendations that we've made. So I thought, given that we have, a new government, I just wanted to introduce some of the ministers that we'll be working with. Kelly Green with Emergency Management and Climate Readiness. This really falls under the Emergency Management Booking Portal, travel bans, understanding and planning for potential climate crises. And we certainly have seen those over the past few years and anticipate that there won't be a shortage of them in the future. And our role is to ensure that our communities and our industry is held whole, and that we're offered the opportunity to provide whatever support is required and within our capacity. You know, our new Minister of Tourism, Arts, Culture, and Sports, Spencer Chandra Herbert. I just saw him on Wednesday. You know, he's a long-standing tourism critic, even under the Liberal government, and I certainly did some work with him then as under the Christy Clark government when I was the chair of BCHA. He is a very strong tourism. He understands tourism. He's very passionate. He's very excited about being this minister. He also has a very strong deputy and assistant deputy in Nick Grant, who remains within the file. I do have a series of meetings set up with them. I'm really excited to be working with Spencer and feel that he'll do us a really, really good job. Remembering, policy does not rest within the Ministry of Tourism, Arts, Culture, and Sport. So whatever our issues are, we need to go to another minister and make sure that they understand the impact and what we need them to support and to do. Jennifer Whiteside is our new Minister of Labor, who replaced Harry Baines. She certainly has a very long labor background. and comes also from the mental health and psychological health and wellness. And you'll see within all the WCB changes, that certainly is the trend in the new protocols that we are responsible for conforming to. Ravi Kalon, now Minister of Housing, but also Municipal Affairs. That's a big portfolio. Of course, our short-term rental legislation falls under housing, and municipal affairs is connected to emergency services, which then links back to the Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, and certainly public health and safety as well. Brenda Bailey, as Minister of Finance, has a big job. Of course, we have the biggest deficit we've ever had. The business community is extremely concerned about the deficit and also the cost of doing business and how we can really support and amplify the contribution that businesses make. And of course, the tourism and hospitality industry being in every community in the province, this is a really important piece of work that we'll have to make sure that we are quantifying our impact and the need to make sure that we are in fact profitable and a thriving industry. Ann Kang, Minister of Post-Secondary Education and Future Skills. This is a really top of mind hot issue around the international students postgraduate work permit, the limitations on foreign workers. We're not on the list of qualified industries. We do have several meetings set up with her deputy minister and with our partner organizations. And so we, even before those mandates letters come out, we're definitely very clearly committed to working hand in hand with this ministry to make sure that we're also connecting with our federal minister, Mark Miller, who we've also had several meetings with over the last few weeks. Gary Begg is the Minister of Public Safety and Solicitor General. So this is all really the liquor, which our partners Able BC and ourselves work hand in hand with. And obviously, one of the other things that we hear in every community around the province is around that safety. And we hear from travelers and tourists the need for us to make sure that our cities and our streets are safe. And again, we'll be working hand in hand with Minister Begg and his deputy. So our latest pulse check, which came out in November of 2024, you told us that 83% of you trust the BCHA as your association, 84% a net promoter score. And so this really is the greatest compliment. It means 84% of you will recommend us to your peers. This is like your guest satisfaction survey. And then 94% of you said that you had that we are great value for money. And I just want to say that this is our report card and you answered it for us. And I could not be more proud of our team and all the effort that we give to make sure that the work that we're doing is important on your behalf. Okay, so I have a few of our advocacy issues that I'll go through here. So the first one is short-term rentals, housing, and affordability. I'll just let you know, the background here is we are not against short-term rentals, but we strongly support that there is affordable, available housing for our workers in our communities in every area of the province. So whether or not that is for students or for seasonal employees, full-time employees, we've had a very, very difficult time over the last 5 to 10 years in finding affordable housing. So the legislation that was enacted May 1st, which is a principal residence requirement, was really step one of the best practice internationally on making sure that you have a thriving short-term rental industry, but you also have available, affordable housing in communities. The next steps for this is a provincial registry, platform accountability, which means it doesn't matter what platform you're advertising on as a short-term rental, that you are accountable, that you have the number from the provincial registry. and that wherever your location is, you have real data sharing. So the importance of that is a municipality cannot enforce without the data to know how many there are and where they are and how that fits within their community plan. A big win for us this fall was the $50 million enforcement fund, which was just announced in November and actually is rolled out the door. The link in this deck, which we will be sharing, and we also shared within our newsletter last week, is eligibility and how the municipalities can apply for this. Now, the importance here is we also have experts, and there are technology companies that support municipalities. The key is according to the community plan and that they already have regulation in place. That is the eligibility requirement in order to apply for money from this enforcement fund. So the application is December 16th to January 24th. We're really making sure that that information is widely understood and that municipalities all over the province have access to that. So our research in the first 4 months from the legislation that was enacted May 1st is that in that first 4 months, $60 million of rent was saved by those renters in British Columbia. That number is extrapolated based on supply and demand, and we take the Canada Mortgage and Housing rental rates and then also how much are available. So if there's nowhere available to rent, we know the rental prices go up. And we saw immediately as of May 1st that there was additional availability for rental units for the long term. And so that really enabled there to be rental savings right across the province, which we're really thrilled to see. The municipal toolkit that we developed with our partners, the Hotel Association of Canada, is alive and well and ready for any municipality to use. We find the large municipalities have whole teams that are working on short-term rental enforcement. And then when you go to the medium and small communities, it's a really difficult when you have a small team and a small community to actually do the work and figure out the roadmap for short-term rental regulation. So this is a toolkit that is available for all municipalities. And again, it's available on our website. The cost of doing business, goodness, you will have seen from Debbie's slides, you know, your EBITDA, the labor cost, we all know the 5 sick days, the increase in the labor rates, the lack of available employees, overtime. There's just so many things. And then you've got inflation, just like everybody else. You've got the supply chain, your supply increase, etc. So we're really aware that this is a big issue. And we do have some solutions. We're looking at insurance solutions, property tax solutions. Next slide, please, Gareth. And navigating the labor wages, energy costs, and also our WCB costs as well. We are very strong believers that in the insurance realm, if we are showing that we are mitigating risk and being really good, responsible employers and owners, that there should be a recognition of that from our insurance rates. Our property tax partner, O'Connor, will, when you'll be getting your property tax bill any day now, beginning of January, and we strongly advise that you reach out. They will appeal your property tax. It doesn't cost you anything. And then you give them a % of what they save. And then energy costs, we have an energy buying program. And also, again, looking at the WCB, they have an overage right now, so more premium than claims. And our position really is that that overage of $2.3 billion should be allocated to the 5 sick days that was implemented last year, which is a direct additional cost to employers. Thank you, Gareth. MRDT and taxation, you know, this is a really important file for us and it always will be. Next slide, I think, Gareth. The MRDT is based on a tripartite system. That means all about collaboration and transparency. You have a destination marketing management or destination development organization. Hotels sit on that board and they're advisors and experts. The strategy of how to spend the MRDT is agreed to. The municipality agrees to it, and the hotels have the vote. That is a critical tripartite system that ensures alignment, understanding, and ROI on those monies being spent. An example of what isn't a triparty system, next slide, Gareth, please, is the FIFA 2026 Major Events Additional MRDT. There was no hotel vote there, and the Hotel Association of Vancouver, myself, and the City of Vancouver are working very, very closely along with the province in making sure that the costs affiliated with FIFA fit a very specific approved list, and that we're making sure that we're mitigating any overages if at all possible. Hotel development and infrastructure, we do have a significant amount of interest in British Columbia from a hotel pipeline perspective. We also have many communities that are looking at needing additional infrastructure to support the growth of the industry, whether or not that is corporate meetings, large events, or whether it's hotel structure themselves. So Roy Schwinn, CEO of Destination Vancouver, and myself are co-chairing this task force. Cascadia Strategy Consulting Company were the successful candidates that had the RFP. We're working really closely with them, looking at what kind of hotel in what structure belongs where, and then also looking at municipal policy around where is the friction points where you'll have a project come forward, but it won't get completed. And I can just say that I am very encouraged by the collaboration and the willingness for developers, hotel owners, property owners, management companies, architects, and the city planners themselves in coming up with this framework where we can also look at the contribution to community and the contribution to the society in which we operate, which will all be compiled within the Cascadia report, which should be ready in March. Emergency preparedness, you'll all know that we were successful in garnering a pilot project and a grant last summer for the emergency management booking portal. We launched that pilot project in June of 2024. It continues to operate 24/7. It is being used by emergency services in Prince George, Kamloops, and the Central Okanagan. And they use it even for a level 1 fire now, which would be a house fire. And it really supports emergency services to have access for availability for accommodation industry or availability at any given time. I just want to acknowledge and thank those properties that are on this call who have actively been participating. It is not as automated as we would like it to be, and I think this coming year we certainly will see some tweaks from the program. We're hoping that we can continue to operate it and then really look at what does it look like for the province. I also really want to acknowledge the role that the regional BCRTS, the regions, have been playing, where our ministry has been funding a person to support emergency services in each of the regions. And we've been working really closely hand in hand with that group as well. People and careers. My goodness, I don't remember when we, number one, had enough employees everywhere in the province, and number two, with the appropriate skills and training and availability for work. So next slide, please, Gareth. And you continue to tell us that the most important thing is access. And we know that there has been both some announcements from our federal immigration, but also our provincial ministry that is looking after our provincial nominee program. We have a lot of work to do in this regard. I just want to connect around the work that our partners Go to HR are doing and their resources. We have a lot of regulatory changes right now with WCB. The first four here is the indexation of the comp benefits for inflation, claims suppression, duty to cooperate and maintain employment, which is what we call light duties, and then the requirement for additional first aid training to be on shift. All of this work on these 8 bullet points here have been underway over the last 3 to 4 years. So we will see in the beginning of 2025 significant new restrictions or responsibilities that employers have for WCB. I am hearing from hotels around the province. You'll just go back, please, Gareth. We are hearing from hotels around the province that WCB is actively coming and to the property and actually doing their inspections, and that is their responsibility to do so. I urge you to cooperate and make sure that you understand your responsibility with your orientation, your onboarding, and your annual training for your teams around the WCB obligations. The psychological safety that workers have to participate in those programs, additional compliance with harassment and violence, and then hazard identification and risk management. So we will have this information on our website, and I encourage you also to reach out to Go to HR. They are the experts when it comes to their training resources for you to be compliant with WCB regulations. Okay, I just want to detail a little bit of the federal reforms here in August, and we've had several since then. You will not be eligible for temporary foreign worker programs if you have an unemployment rate of 6% or higher. They reduced the low wage stream cap to hire 10% of your employee base to temporary foreign workers. I am well aware this is a big issue in not just small resort tourism communities or rural areas. It also is in our larger cities. And I know that many hotels have between 20 or 30% foreign workers because there simply is not the domestic workers to fill that need. And this is definitely one of the issues that we will be advocating a relaxation for. Also, that there was a reduction in the duration of employment from 2 years to 1 year, which actually makes the burden and hardship of the cost of recruiting through temporary foreign workers and LMIAs. I mean, it just doubled it. So that is a huge issue for us. And then additionally to that, in October, the high wage stream was increased to 20% higher than the current level for any occupation that would be termed unskilled or low skilled. It's completely untenable. You can't possibly afford in today's landscape of costs of operating to pay somebody $30 an hour as a light duty cleaner. Although that's just one example, and I think we have a lot of work to do on this file. Thank you, Gareth. So here's Bridget Anderson with the Vancouver Board of Trade with Mark Miller. We had the opportunity to meet with him about 3 weeks ago now, really talking about the colleges, the postgraduate work permit, international students, the availability and the need for us to continue to be able to hire international students who could be the leaders of the future. I've met many times with presidents of colleges and universities. We're very aligned with our messaging. Also, my counterpart, Walt, with TIA BC. And then we also have, Vancouver Board of Trade is aligned with us as well, ABLE BC. And so we'll all be going together. But we do need to do the research to make sure that the contribution and the impact for British Columbia in both small communities and large cities is understood. And we need our new Minister of Post-Secondary and Skills Training to make sure that she understands, because it needs to come from the province to the federal government to say this is what British Columbia needs. And there is an opening there, but it is going to take all of us as a very coordinated approach to actually get this change. Here's a couple of photos from my chair, Tanya Stronig, and David McKenzie and Heather Hamilton. All three obviously are on our board. We went to Ottawa and we met with Conservatives, NDPs, and Liberals. We had our key files and our advocacy pieces in the background. Also, the bottom right is me meeting with our federal minister. And here's a couple of the key issues in addition to what I was just talking about. Fraudulent hotel bookings. I tip my hat to those of you that reached out to me last year with this. I know it's still ongoing, but now everybody actually understands it. We're also meeting with the federal Conservatives so they understand it, and Mark Miller as well. This really shows that there is fraud going on with the immigration system. We've provided them what they need to do to change it. And we're working with the Hotel Association of Canada hand in hand to make sure that these fraudulent bookings are no longer, that it just can't be. And really the answer to that is they have to pay a deposit, or it has to go through the hotel website itself, which they would have provided a credit card that would have been approved. And the other thing we've uncovered is actually the immigration agents that are operating illegally that are making these bookings. So they also need to make sure that they're held accountable. The International Convention Attraction Fund, this is a really, really important fund to protect. It supports the major international business events, making sure that we're addressing the stickiness at the border. This is to support group, convention, and corporate travel to continue to come back. We have not seen the US travel, especially on the corporate group side, come back to pre-pandemic levels. And it's a critical piece of us making sure that the seasonality and the shoulders are built out in British Columbia. You'll all know this great announcement about the GST rebate. I don't want to sound like it's too difficult because we should be grateful, but it is a very complicated piece of work for independent businesses. And they're sort of making the rules as we go. I did just meet with the Hotel Association of Canada this morning, and we will have very specific details that hopefully will alleviate the complexity for you. Here is a link that you will receive that will show the application and what businesses need to do to reconcile. The intention was to make sure that people were out spending their money and that they would see this as a tax relief over the holiday season. Okay, so we have a couple of things that we can do around employment. One is the Ready to Work program. This is an investment of 40 million over 3 years. This is an ask from the Hotel Association of Canada in partnership with TIAC, Restaurants Canada, and Tourism HR Canada. It will connect 2,000 newcomers and underemployed Canadians with permanent tourism jobs. So many of these people are already in Canada. The placement agencies historically have not seen tourism and hospitality as a viable full-time career employment. And so we're really going back and making sure that we're educating them and that we're connecting that unemployed Canadian or newcomer with the job. Wherever they are across Canada. And then we also have a request to adjust the temporary worker program for rural and seasonal tourism employment. And some of these exemptions, some of these asks are an exemption for recognized employers. We have employers every year that are filling out LMIAs. They're trusted employers. They do all the right things. And we certainly believe that there should be an exemption for them. Also multi-entry visas so that you don't have to go back and do the starting from square one again. And then also prioritizing pathway to permanent residency for those employees and employers that are doing all the things right. And now I would like to introduce to you Carissa Bourgeot. She is our project manager. She's brilliant. She's such a strong part of our team, and the work that she's doing is so important. So Carissa, can I pass it over to you?
Thank you so much, Ingrid. Good morning to everyone. As Ingrid said, my name is Carissa Bourgeot, and I'm the project manager at the BC Hotel Association, as well as the lead on our sustainability and education pillars. So it's my pleasure to be here with you today. Before diving into my updates, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge all the incredible work that has been done this year on advocacy. The many slides you just saw highlight the depth of these efforts, and I'm sure you'll all agree it's been quite a pivotal year for advancing our industry's needs. Following Ingrid's lead, I'll be focusing on some of the key projects we've been working on, along with a look at kind of what's ahead for 2025. So the first one here, as Ingrid just outlined, there have been changes to pathways for temporary foreign workers to Canada in 2024, and immigration and workforce remain critical priorities for our industry. The Destination Canada Mobility Forum is a program and initiative that has direct support for these needs. For the third year in a row, we'll be attending this IRCC-led forum, supporting our members in recruiting and vetting international candidates through the Francophone Mobility Work Permit. On the slide, you'll see a testimonial actually from one of our participants last year who found this program invaluable and has integrated new team members from our trip to Morocco. Some of the key details of the forum. So the forum does take place this year in both Paris, France, from February 14th to 15th, and a little bit of a change from last year. This year it's in Douala, Cameroon, from February 18th to 20th. This is in addition to 2 online forums, one of which happened in November of this year, and one will be in March of 2025. A point of note on this is that Alison Langford, the BCHA workforce strategist, did participate in the November online forum and has already compiled a list of driven and qualified candidates that are ready to fill your positions. As we do attend on your behalf, we'll assist with job order matching and recruit LMIA exempt candidates. So this includes holding dozens of interviews over multiple days to ensure the right fit that we will then bring back to you for you to help fit the positions you're looking for. It is a cost-effective hiring solution designed to streamline the process for our members, and we're thrilled to continue providing this support. We encourage you to reach out, or you can scan the QR code on the slide here as well if you have any questions or want to participate. We do have a registration deadline of December 20th of this year, but again, Alison or myself can help you with any questions on this initiative. But it's a great initiative. We saw some amazing candidates, very well-trained and eager to come to Canada last year. So we definitely encourage you to hop on this opportunity. So in our most recent pulse check, training and education opportunities were identified as one of the top 2 member benefits that we offered this year on behalf of the BCHA. The BCHA training program, Fast Track Your Future, has proven to be an effective opportunity for your team members to expand their industry knowledge, develop their career, and fast track their growth in the industry, in turn increasing retention at your properties. Now in its 3rd successful season, this program consistently earns high praise with an average training rating of 4.9 stars for our industry experts and trainers that are facilitating these series. If you see on the slide here, we have both testimonials from those who were able to register their team members, as well as those who had the opportunity to participate in the programming. Each season, we refine and expand the offerings based on this feedback from our participants and our industry surveys. On the next slide here, Gareth, you'll see, as we alluded to, this is our 3rd season. So for a bit of a reference, we started off in 2021 with 1 series on financials, and now in our 2024-2025 season, we're able to offer 8 different series on topics ranging from financials to crisis communications to leadership. As we wrap up what we've completed already in 2024 with our first 2 series, we were able to offer our housekeeping management methods with our industry expert, David McBean, and our human resources principles and approaches facilitated by the team at Go2HR. But we are very excited to be able to launch 2 brand new series to kick off 2025. The first one being our food and beverage operational optimization, facilitated by Teresa Ito and Chef Ito and the team at Blue Mountain Solutions. This series also includes a bonus add-on session on food waste management presented by Ben Legy with Better Table. This series is for front of house and back of house employees in food and beverage operations and has been our most highly requested series as we continue to expand the program. The next one that's brand new this season as well is our social media and communication strategies, facilitated by Julie Wang at Tiny Planet. This is also the first of what we're calling our Spotlight series this year, which we introduced. A slightly more condensed format, still offering a large amount of learning for your teams. There's a QR code on this slide as well for anyone interested in learning more about these upcoming series or to help you register. We're looking forward to offering these new programs as well as welcoming back some of our amazing facilitators from past seasons, and we will continue to grow on this program as well. So training, of course, is vital for our current team members, but education has been equally critical in ensuring the long-term success for our industry. On this slide, we're able to showcase the universities and colleges that are proud members of the BC Hotel Association, and we continue to collaborate with. Early this year, we introduced a new membership category to strengthen the connections between the educational institutes and our industry. We've created a dedicated workspace forum in our member portal to facilitate co-op placements and other opportunities for collaboration. Additionally, in our recent edition of In Focus magazine, you may have seen an article that highlighted these partnerships and the endless opportunities for collaboration. We ourselves also find ways that we can collaborate with our members by participating in site visits, panel discussions, as well as hiring co-op students over the summer from a lot of our industries that helped contribute immensely to the operations at BCHA. Starting in 2025, we will be providing quarterly communications updates to share details about job fairs, site visits, co-op terms, and more. We truly believe today's students are tomorrow's industry leaders, and we're committing to supporting that journey. So a little bit of a change into our sustainability pillar here. So under our sustainability pillar, the BCHA Go Green program and our incredible partners provide actionable solutions for our members. Last year, we launched our BCHA playbook, which many of you may remember, and in early 2025, we'll be relaunching with more updated and more practical guidance tailored to wherever you are on your sustainability journey. Some of the key components of the playbook and our Go Green program include complementary energy analysis with our partners at Fortis BC, including our energy specialist, Adrian Kanger. This provides an in-depth look at energy consumption and outlines saving opportunities for you at your property. Resources for sustainable programs, partners, and products are also included. And support for members in pursuit of their sustainability certification, including the Hotel Association of Canada's Green Key certification, Green Step Sustainable Tourism certification, and Biosphere, all of which BCHA have undergone the certification program as well, including a very recent update to our Biosphere and our gold certified Green Step certification that happened earlier this year. The playbook is designed to be a roadmap, helping you take meaningful steps toward more sustainable operations. So building on sustainability on the next slide, we outline our EcoFund program. So the EcoFund is a fantastic opportunity to help fund a lot of these green projects that have been established in your energy analysis. This Green Step program helps members to support green projects by funding capital initiatives that reduce energy and water consumption, as well as minimize waste, drive impact with data by measuring and reducing your carbon footprint, and increase your business value by meeting the demand for responsible operations with a credible program. The fund not only improves operational efficiency, but also positions your business as a leader in sustainable hospitality. I'm happy to provide more details as well for anyone interested in applying and help connect you with Adrian or the Green Step team if you want to go further with the EcoFund program. Finally, I do want to share an example of a recent EcoFund program and an analysis. So you can see just a little bit how it works. On the slide, you'll find the project scope, analysis findings, and the next steps. So we just recently completed an energy assessment on a 153-room Osoyoos property. Through that analysis, $878,000 of potential projects were identified, including lighting retrofits, appliance upgrades, and more. Of those projects, over $194,000 of those were qualified for incentives through Fortis and other partners. There were over 3,000 gigajoules of energy savings identified, and most of the additional projects that did not qualify for the incentives were identified as eligible to be funded through the EcoFund program. So it is inspiring to see what can be achieved, and we're eager to continue to support more projects like this in the coming year. So thank you for your time today. I look forward to discussing these initiatives further, answering any questions you may have, and bringing them into 2025. I do now have the pleasure of handing it over to our wonderful Member Services Manager, Samantha Glennie, who's going to take you through many more of our great programs that we offer at the BCHA.
Hello, everyone. As Chris mentioned, my name is Samantha, and I'm the BCHA's Member Services Manager. So you've already heard from Ingrid now, who discussed how she represents you in the industry. Carissa has gone through all of the insight into training, education, and sustainable practices we offer. Now I'm going to take you through another valuable branch of our association, our partnerships, and how they can significantly benefit you as accommodation members. So as part of the BCHA, our primary goal is to strategically meet the diverse needs of our members. We aim to provide exclusive tools and resources that not only save you money, but also enhance your operation. We are proud to have over 150 allied members within the association. An allied member is defined as a company that assists hotels in their day-to-day operation. These companies cover a wide range of services and products, anything from linen to hotel amenities to consultants to coffee, PMS systems, security services, and so much more. If you are curious about the companies that are part of the organization, you can easily check out our website. Just go to www.bcha.com, click on our B2B benefits page, and you'll find a complete catalog, of all of our allied members. Additionally, if you're already a member, you can access this information through your membership portal. There, not only will you see a full list of allied members, but you'll also be able to see the exclusive discounts and benefits that they provide to you as a member. Beyond our allied members, we have an exclusive group of companies that continuously support us in various ways. We call these companies our premier partners. These companies provide you with enhanced purchasing power, tailored hospitality programs and services, preferred pricing, and rebates on existing purchases. So let's dive into those now. So these partners are designed to save you money, improve your operations, and tailor the programs to your business for success. First, I want to start off with FoodBuy, which is a North American procurement service. This collaboration gives you access to exceptional savings on your already existing purchases and rebates through their buying power. Next, we have ECNG, which Ingrid did touch base on. So we launched this program. It's an exclusive natural gas program for our members, offering cost certainty with leveraging group buying power. We also have partnered with Ecolab. They're one of our longstanding partners, which we are always thankful for their support. A leader in cleaning solutions for the lodging industry. This partnership actually gives independent hotels access to exclusive pricing and increased buying power as well. And then Sherwin-Williams also offers BCHA members competitive preferred pricing on paint and related products. Our other premier partners, we have the Canadian Hospitality Health Plan. This is a custom hospitality benefits plan that the BCHA built in collaboration with AHLA, which is the Alberta Hotel and Lodging Association. This not-for-profit program puts hoteliers top of mind and reduces premiums, enhances employee support for the hotel sector. Next, we have Western Financial. BCHA offers the HIP program, which I know some of you are on. This program provides tailored commercial insurance solutions, ensuring long-term rates of stability and potential premium returns. Next, we have our partnership with Sana or SanaPay, which is a boutique payment processing company that offers competitive pricing and customized solutions to make your transactions easier. And finally, as Carissa already mentioned, Green Step, we offer the EcoFund program, which helps you invest in energy efficiency. As you can see, these partnerships provide you with valuable tools and savings, and I encourage you all to explore all of the offerings and take advantage of the benefits available to you. You can either reach out to myself or you can reach out to the respected program, which again, it's all on our website as well as it's in your member portal. So apart from our premier programs and our amazing partners, we also partner with other associations. So I want to share with you today an incredible resource we provide through a dual membership offering with the Alliance of Beverage Licensees, which we know as ABLE. ABLE is the voice of BC's bars and pubs and private liquor stores, and they offer a range of benefits designed to support businesses like yours in the beverage and hospitality sector. As a dual member, you'll gain access to not only BCHA benefits, but also ABLE's benefits. All of their great benefits are listed on their website, but I did want to showcase a few of them that are tailored to the F&B side of the industry. So what we have here is their liquor price guide. ABLE partners with Barnett POS to provide you with an online guide, so free of charge for members. Tourism marketing, they leverage your marketing dollars and partner with the BC Ale Trail. It's a marketing company showcasing BC as a global destination for tourists and craft beer enthusiasts like myself. They also have compliance checks. So as a ABLE member, you do get 20% off of your first service with Sting Investigations. They also provide a lot of networking events. They're actually doing their conference next year in Vancouver. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's been on LinkedIn, and it's their Spark conference that's coming up. And then also, just like us, we have our supplier discount. So they have preferred suppliers tailored to their section that you can take advantage of. So in addition to our great benefits and their great benefits, ABLE BC also actively advocates for the hospitality industry as well. They've had some significant wins throughout the year, that directly benefit your accommodation business. So just to name a few advocacy successes throughout the year, hotels are now permitted to serve complimentary glass of wine at check-in, enhancing the guest experience. Guests are now allowed to take unfinished drinks to their room, creating more flexible to your operations, and extended liquor room service hours. In conclusion, with your BCHA membership, if you are interested in joining ABLE as well, if you haven't already, you can access a discounted membership rate for ABLE through us, making it more affordable to gain all these fantastic benefits. We are so proud to work with ABLE BC to ensure that your needs are met across the hotel and beverage sectors. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or ABLE directly. We are both here to support you. So as we slowly come to the end of today's presentation, I just wanted to take a moment to remind you of all the incredible value that comes with your membership. You've heard from the president and CEO now about the industry representation she provides, the timely communication, and the ongoing support we offer on your behalf. Our project manager has also walked you through some fantastic benefits through our sustainability, education, and recruitment initiatives, and I've covered all the programs that improve your bottom line and make your operations more efficient. All of these are available to you as part of your membership, and we truly believe that these benefits are key to helping your business succeed. So to wrap this all up with a bow in the spirit of Christmas, I'll pass it back to Ingrid, who will share details about one of our largest and most exciting network events coming in 2025.
Thank you, Samantha.
Welcome.
So we have our 2025 summit, which last year was incredible, and this year will be equally as incredible. April 22nd, 23rd, please pop it in your calendar. We're in Vancouver at the Westin Bayshore. We've done our site tours and met with their team. We're really excited about being able to be at that gorgeous property. Early bird registration launched yesterday. And we also last week launched our Awards of Excellence nominations. So you can go to bchasummit.com or just on the bcha.com website and then go to the summit page. And make sure that you are nominating one of your colleagues, your hotel, and one of your counterparts for those awards of excellence. We've had a really phenomenal uptake so far, and it's such a pleasure to recognize so many of our industry peers and the excellence of our industry at the awards of excellence. And this is how you can get in touch. We all have our first name at bcha.com. Don't hesitate, Ingrid or Samantha or Carissa, and we'll be sure to do our best to answer any questions that you may have. And I think we have a few minutes left for Q&A here, and I will just read out the first one and see whether or not, Carissa, I think this one might be for you. And any of you on the webinar, please do use the Q&A and we'll be sure to do our best to answer your questions. How has the demand for sustainable practices impacted guest expectations and operations? Do you have any background on that, Chris? I can speak sort of federally, but I think maybe you could take that away.
Yeah, a little bit. The demand at the property level for operations from a guest expectation is definitely, we hear this term being turned around, thrown around a lot, of the 3 Ps, so the people, profit, planet. So when making sustainable decisions, those are the 3 Ps to have in mind. There's definitely an increasing factor from guests wanting sustainable practices. So transparency and communication, when it comes down to a lot of the certification programs, is a great way for properties to highlight their sustainable efforts. And then participating in a lot of programs that help with the cost saving sides of sustainability. There's obviously a cost attached to a lot of the implementation and the programs that you can participate in, but through partnerships with rebates from Fortis, through the Eco Fund, there's a lot of ways to help reduce the cost to encourage to continuing to put sustainability first, I think, at an operational level.
Thank you, Carissa. I know too that there are many corporations now that are determining for their choice of location of hotel for their programming, that there needs to be a sustainable certification or commitment to the environment in one way or another. And we are seeing that in conferences, corporate rate negotiation, governments across the country. And so increasingly, I think when we're looking at the way that business is booked, and the impact on sustainability, I think everybody is thinking about it. And as an industry, we could do a better job of making sure that we're communicating what we are doing and how we are contributing to not only our local environment, but the environment as a whole. Our second question here is regarding limited service TrevPAR versus full service. And I thought I would take this away, and then Debbie, I'm happy if I miss something for you to contribute to that as well. I can just say a limited service, this is a really interesting stat. We are seeing that the luxury and, sort of the top 2 tiers of accommodations across Canada, but especially in British Columbia, have the greatest propensity over ebbs of flow of economic growth or decline or inflation. They've been able to actually continue to grow. And that, they have many different opportunities for revenue streams. And the whole operation is based around a full service product. When you have a limited service product, you have limited revenue opportunities, and you also do not get the rate that you would get at the on the luxury or full service scale. So it's really the balance between the cost of doing business. You still, as a limited service property, have all the same inflation factors. You have the same, increasing costs, et cetera. Not as much labor that you're servicing, but the economy of scale isn't there for you to continue to grow the revenue in all departments. Debbie, I don't know if you'd like to contribute anything else to that.
No, I think you've explained it perfectly. It's just the increase in revenue versus the increase in revenue doesn't equate to the bottom line as much.
Yeah. And, as we look at hotels being built across the country, the last 5 to 10 years, the limited service properties have grown exponentially. And the luxury and high-end properties, full service properties, have not grown in the number of new ones to the same degree. And so there's a little bit of pent-up demand there, but we're also seeing the luxury market around the world not waning. It is actually a very strong, people who stay in full service or luxury properties love to travel. They have the capacity to do so. and that is a growing segment internationally. So I think all of those things combined is really what the impact is on TRevPAR. I'm noting we have a few minutes left and wondering whether or not there are any other questions. And if not, then I hope that we have been able to provide you valuable information. It's been our honor in 2024 to do our best on your behalf. I'm incredibly proud of our team. Believe me, some of those really sticky advocacy issues, we're determined, and we'll continue to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support your success and viability, but also that our industry is thriving is the goal. And, I think it thrives when people are trained well, when you have tenure in your employee base, when we're seeing growth in the hotel build market. And there's a lot of really positive things that are on the horizon, but we have some very important work to do also from an advocacy perspective. Kim, I see a question here. Do you have insights to prepare for extended cruise ship season in 2025? Great question. I'm hearing about cruise that 2025, there will actually be less ships in Victoria, Vancouver, and Prince Rupert, but the ships are going to be larger. So the actual delegate numbers or cruise numbers will go up, but that those ships will be much, much larger. And we are seeing, to your point, that cruise season kind of spreading out. They're starting earlier, like into April, and not ending until October, which for the destinations is very positive. We know they come in a day before, sometimes 2 days before, and they'll do sort of an in-market holiday or maybe on the end. I don't think any of us would have guessed that cruise would have grown back so quickly when we were in the depth of the pandemic. But my goodness, that sector has really, really grown back and contributed in a very large way to those destinations. And we know many people on cruise, the first time they will come to British Columbia will be on cruise. And then they will come back with their families, and they may come in a different way to travel. So there is an amplified effect of being first introduced to those 3 beautiful cities in our province. I hope I answered your question all right, Kim. May I give you another moment for another? Oh, here we have. Oh, thank you. Okay. That's great. Okay, well, final comments. We're here for you. Again, reach out anytime. We will be making public our year-end advocacy report, which is a little more juicy details about all the advocacy issues that we're working on. Stay tuned. We really appreciate you reading our In Focus magazine, which I just have to say is currently stuck in Canada Post, but it is virtually available both on our website and in our weekly newsletter. There's a link there so you can read it virtually. We're super excited about Summit 2025. The awards are always one of my favorite things, and it's our honor to do the work that we do on your behalf. I wish you an incredible holiday season. I hope you have lots of time with friends and family to relax, and we look forward to seeing you again in 2025. So thank you for joining us today.